Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about why stalking leads to rejection. Now, I'm not talking about the more severe kind of stalking, the ones that you hear about, about weirdos and stuff like that. I'm not talking about the kind of stalking that can get you in prison. I'm just talking about perhaps like stalking on them on social media, basically getting way too invested in someone and spending a lot of your time, kind of thinking about them and kind of dwelling about them a lot. And that could be, through just your own thoughts, or it could be, scrolling through their pages on social media, seeing the things that they've liked, going back through their history on Facebook, going through all their photos, that sort of thing. And, even though the thing is that kind of stalking is absolutely fine, because obviously it's on social media, so everything kind of on social media is for everybody in a way. Of course, it's kind of frowned upon. It's not a good thing to do that kind of thing. And I'm going to tell you why it's not a good thing and why stalking someone like that, in this kind of less severe way, more innocent way, shall we say, it can lead to getting rejected by the crush that you have. So if you have a big crush on someone and you do find yourself on their pages a lot, or you just think about them loads, the reason why this often leads to rejection is mostly because of you, because you're becoming way too invested in them. This is especially for someone, who you may not have even asked out yet, or it could be that you've only been on a couple of dates with. Obviously, this kind of behavior is not really good to do at any stage of a relationship, whether it's before, after, during, those kinds of things. Like, it's not a good idea to do it anyway, but it makes you too invested, right? And when you get too invested in someone, you tend to make silly mistakes, like you overanalyze their messages, or you send too many messages to them, or you just fall in love a lot more quicker because you're just consumed with the thoughts that you have of them. And that's not good, especially at the beginning of something, when you haven't perhaps even asked them out yet, or you haven't, been out on many dates. It's not a good idea. It's good to remain detached, to avoid, looking through all of their photos, to avoid watching what they've done on social media. They're kind of like their social media blueprint, their internet blueprint. And you can make silly mistakes by doing that kind of thing, by becoming too invested too soon. And what I mean by that is that you might end up doing something like confessing your feelings for them instead of just asking them out. This is a huge common problem that I find with some people, not all people, but especially like really, really young people as well, like teenagers. They've watched so many movies, and it may be the case that you've watched a lot of movies and you're kind of older and you're just kind of in the same kind of boat. Because this is what happened to me. Like, I watched a lot of romantic movies growing up. I watched a lot of Disney, watched a lot of rom-coms, because that's the kind of movies my mum loved to watch, and I would often watch movies with her. And I thought, this is how it's supposed to be. There's supposed to be some kind of big confession where you tell them that you've loved them all along. And because I believed that, that's what I did for a long time, like during my teenage years and a tiny little part of my early 20s. I was telling girls that I liked, that I was in love with them, or that I had feelings for them, or that I really, really liked them. When instead, if I just liked someone, all I should have really done is just ask them out. You don't really need to elaborate on how you feel about someone, right? You don't need to make this big confession. You don't have to do anything like that. All you have to do is ask them out, because usually if you ask someone out, whether it's a guy or a woman, no matter who you are, if you ask them out, that's not a subtle thing. Like, they know what that means. It means that they know when you ask them out that it means that you like them, right? And I think some people think that, I need to say this big, huge thing. I need to say to them how I really, really feel about them, because then I'm being 100% transparent with them and there's no way there'll be any like grey area. But, it might be the case that your crush already knows that you like them, because people aren't stupid. I mean, some people may need a bit more stronger hints, but usually everyone can pick up on the subtle kind of behaviors of other people, and you can usually tell instinctively when someone is attracted to you. You can tell because they look at you longer than usual. You can tell because they like to get really close to you when they speak to you. You can tell because they, like pat you on the shoulder a lot and touch you and all that kind of stuff. So it's not going to be just asking someone out. That's a subtle enough clue, right? You don't need to do anything more than that, because they will know that means that you like them. It makes sense, right? If someone comes up to you and says, hey, I would really like to get to know you better. When you're free to go out for a drink. If someone said that to you, then you'd know, like, oh, this is probably a date. They probably like me. Like, it makes sense, right? Because no one would do that, right? If there was a friend, if they wanted to just be friends, they'd probably say, oh, do you want to hang out one day and play some video games? Or, hey, do you want to hang out one day? It might be something a little bit like that. But even then, you never know. It could end up something romantic. But usually if it's something romantic, it's a lot more obvious, right? So you want to kind of approach your crushes and the people that you find attractive like that, just asking them out on a date, asking them when they're available for a drink, right? Just doing something simple like that. And if you're a younger person watching, obviously then you would meet them for, like a coffee or a tea or a juice, whatever it may be. When are you available to hang out? When are you available to meet up and have a drink with me, have a coffee with me, meet up for something with me, right? And by the incentive of like, oh, we're doing this alone, that also, shows that you are, it's going to be something more romantic because it's just you two, right? If it's like a group thing, which is why you should never, ever, 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 ever do group things with people that you like. Now, obviously, when you get into a relationship, it's okay to do that kind of thing, or if it's been like a few dates down the line, but your first date with someone should just be you two, right? Otherwise, if you're with your friends, then your friends are going to want your attention. There's no way you can possibly give your date, the person that you like, all of your attention if there's other people around, because other people are going to want your attention. Other people are going to come up to you and talk to you. It has to be you two alone. But anyway, so, prying yourself away from their social media pages is going to make it a lot easier for you because, first of all, you're not going to have that huge emotion because when you obsess over someone, when you look at their social medias a lot, when you're always on their page, when you are just thinking about them a lot, you're staring at them all the time, if you know them in a social setting, like if you know them at work or school, and you're just always consumed with thoughts of them, then of course, if you go up to them and ask them out or they reject you or something like that, it's going to hurt if they don't want to be with you, right? And if they are interested in you as well, but you go from 0 to 100 because you've been obsessing about them for so long, because that's what happens, if you think about them a lot, then you're going to make mistakes. You're going to go and try and go from 0 to 100 because if you obsess over someone for a long time, you kind of like fall in love with them. And it's best, for you both to be at the start point. You're both kind of seeing how things go. But if you've been obsessing for ages and you've been looking at their social media and you've been thinking about them all the time, you're going to be like way up here. And they're just still sort of like down here thinking, oh, let's just see how this goes. And because you're up here, you're going to try and pull them to where you are because you're going to want things to move a lot quicker. You're going to want things to move at your pace because you've already been down here. You want them to be up here with you. So which is why, if you have been obsessing and stalking them on social media, whatever it may be, you need to give them a lot of time. And because you can like fix this, even if you have obsessed with someone about someone for a long time, you can fix the situation. You can make the situation better by just holding back and realizing, hey, I'm recognizing that I'm way into them. They are into me right now. So therefore, I need to go at their pace, right? And if you just match and mirror their pace, so that means if they only send you one message a day, then you only send them one message a day. Trying to drag things out. Meet them only once a week for a date, and just take things at their pace. If they're not saying that they're in love with you, then it's not the right time for you to be saying that kind of thing. Give it time. Give them a lot of space, basically. And don't overanalyze their messages. Leave it a few days before asking them out again after a day. Keeping things nice and slow and chill, right? And then if you do that, then and you keep at that pace, you'll start to notice that when they start liking you, basically what will happen is they'll start reaching out to you more and more. They'll start messaging you more. They'll start being more affectionate towards you, and that's how you know that you're on the right path. And then when they start doing more, that means you can start doing more as well. So when they start messaging you more, you can, ask to meet up with them more, and you two hang out more. You spend more and more time together. And as you spend more and more time together, you will eventually end up into that romantic relationship. And that's when you'll get what you want, right? So obviously, stalking isn't a good thing. I think it does way, 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 way more harm than good, because it does make you obsess, and therefore it can make you do these really silly mistakes like confessing your love. It can do things like, I don't know, it can make you way more affectionate when you're with them, and they kind of like don't understand what's going on because your interest is really up here and they're still down here. So there's many reasons why obsessive, you need to refrain yourself and restrain yourself from doing those kinds of things. So if you need, take some time off social media. If you need, find other things that you can do during your day so you have less time to obsess over them. Because you're always going to feel attraction for them. If you're attracted to them, you're attracted to them. There's not really much you can do about that, right? There's not really much you can do about how much you really like them. But you can distract yourself so it doesn't get worse, right? So anyway, I hope that has helped you. I hope that's given you a bit more of an understanding. Obviously, we're talking, as a disclaimer here, we're talking about those more subtle stalking kind of habits. We're not talking about the major ones that can, make you end up in prison or anything like that. So everyone knows that is wrong, right? But anyway, if you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye, guys.